Welcome to the Wholeness Principle. I've been taking a break this month for this completely cardinal magic basket. Also, spirit of this four-legged creature has taken over. And I quite truly can't do anything. It does not feel like the thing to do is do things. It was kind of the message from the very start when I started going through whatever I was going through in my brain in the end of 2019, which is pretty funny because Andre Barbeau passed away in October of 2019. I hadn't realized that. That's right when I started hallucinating all this stuff. And I use the term hallucinate respectfully. I believe that's all we are doing. We have shared hallucination that we call reality. But even within that, we're all hallucinating different things based on our histories, our moods, our emotions, our opinions. We have several layers of filter that cause hallucinations. And if anything, what we call hallucinations that experience them as altered states, if anything, that might be the more bare naked reality. And that's not preferable. That's not what reality wants to be. I think that this consensus reality that we are building together here is what reality is trying to become. It doesn't want to stay in dream state, in bizarro world, in limitless possibility. But nevertheless, that is the larger reality, is that we come from limitless possibility. What we are creating and enjoying here in the third dimension is limitation. And the safety and security that is the complete illusion of a box. It's just like a cat. A cat is almost no shape. It's like just a jumble of fur and bones, like liquid fur and bones. So it's most comfortable on uncomfortable objects. A cat will always cozy up on the corner of a book or in a too small box because it's so used to comfort that discomfort is comforting or containing. It's so used to complete freedom. This is the spirit of the cat that I am promoting nonstop now, is a spiritual sense of liberation that matches that of a cat. Anyway, I wrote down a bunch of themes for every moon phase this month, and I didn't even talk about them for my first video because right off the bat, I wrote something that even as I was writing it, I was like, this isn't quite right, but I wrote that health is the rise of the feminine, and that's just erroneous because the feminine does not rise. The feminine descends. The feminine is the fourth dimension. It's all of these fours. It is the icing on the cake of this thing, this project, this being known as planet Earth. Okay, the third dimension is masculine, and it reaches up towards the feminine. The fourth dimension is the feminine, and it reaches down toward the masculine. They are reaching for one another to achieve balance, the fifth dimension, and union. But we've got it all wrong, and we're going to see it wrong and do the wrong things if we're seeing the feminine as something that rises. Because what the feminine needs to be doing in all people, which is the emotional and the spiritual aspect of all people. On behalf of the higher chakras, it's spiritual feminine. The feminine is the spiritual. On the lower chakras, it's the emotional. The only difference between lower and higher is that the higher needs to be in command of the lower. But they both are equally necessary. So, on the masculine side, the higher masculine, the mind, the mental, has to be in control of the physical body. We need basic discipline over what these bodies are doing. That requires mental faculty. And we need basic discipline over what our emotional bodies are doing, which requires spiritual mastery and knowledge. Some sense that you exist beyond the material world. And you can start just understanding that you knew nothing before you got here. You know nothing about where you go when you go to sleep. There's a whole other side of reality that you are not consciously aware of, but parts of you become aware of sometimes. In dreams, even just daydreams, in synchronicities, serendipity, parts of us become aware of this other side plenty, such that I don't think there is a case for denying it. But that's beside the point for now. For the second phase this week, it was actually what I wrote down, which I wrote all of these before even the full moon, before June 29th. But renunciation became the theme around the 4th of July, whether I wanted it or not. I had some kind of food allergy, which kicked off a 3-day fast. And I wrote down that justice is the renunciation of lust as reconciliation with libido. And I am not strictly referring to sexuality or desire and attraction. I'm also referring to lust for food or novelty or, whatever lusts we have. But when you use those higher faculties, your mental and your spiritual, to tame and table lust, just sit with it instead of act upon it, it transmutes into libido, which is your magnetism. You will naturally be a more attractive person, a more powerful person, and more confident in your own will if you exercise control over every form of lust that you have. So, religion has, instead of sealing the lower chakras and sanctifying them, it's just smashed them like they're all just bad, bad, bad. Shame. And so what happens is they operate behind closed doors and poison everyone secretly. Like it takes detectives. Scorpio. Like Scorpio becomes the poison and the cure here. So everyone's creeping around. And then it also requires the higher self of the Scorpio, the eagle, to creep around and spy on the scorpions to figure out what's poisoning everybody. And it's all just the fact that we have shamed and labeled bad everything that empowers us. Scorpio is power. Libido. Moving on to the new moon. This was the Cancer new moon, and what I wrote down was just simply not applicable to my week. I wrote that peace is pleasure. And I was going to talk about oxytocin and vasopressin. There was just none of that going on, so that is just a topic for another day, apparently. Even rest. I have manifested so much rest for myself the past 7 years. I'm ready to do something. I've been ready to do for a long time. And everything is a failed launch. Like everything, I'll feel a bunch of energy and it works for about a cardinal cycle. And then it comes time to fix it in. Like I can't get past the beginning. I can't make it to fixed. I can't, well, but I don't know. We are here at this magic basket, which I'm hoping will stabilize all energies and make them more cooperative, because I can't tell you how many times squares became the theme. Squares became what dominated my interactions with other people, and everything that like happened was like at the exact moment of some square going on in the sky. And I don't even have a negative view of squares anymore, but it's been unpleasant. What's good about squares is, yes, they can be very uncomfortable in the moment, but it's always a challenge for our growth. So over the long term is where they prove their worth, not necessarily in the moment. Anyway, today is Tuesday, July 21st. It is this Libra quarter moon, and I haven't come up with what happiness is for this cycle yet. I have. Our last cycle also ended with a Libra quarter moon. This is another book-ended, like beautifully book-ended cycle. So again, there's a square. The quarter moons are squares. We have issues relating to one another. And what we need is not more attempts to relate, attempts to even understand, not with one another. Because the very chemistry between human beings and history is what's getting in our way. We need a hermetic seal. S.J. Anderson did a video about Virgo, which just kind of seemed out of nowhere. But he's talking about where certain planets will be, because they will be in Virgo, coming into Virgo season, and as Virgo season ends as well. But for the next 2 to 3 years, we really need to master ourselves. We need to take responsibility for the basket cases we have become, which that is a war term. It's referring to a soldier who's lost all of his limbs. And you may as well say that that's what we've become, because we've lost control of all of our limbs. We've lost control of our minds. And who's even paying attention to the heart? All people talk about lately is the brain. And they are associating themselves so heavily with what their brain is doing, or separating themselves. It's like it's both at once. We talk about our brains like this, like the world wasn't made for this type of brain, which is the brain in my head, which, I don't know, are we reducing ourselves to just the activity of our brains, or are we divorcing ourselves from the activity of our brains? I don't know. What we're not doing is taking responsibility for them. And chemicals aren't doing it, even if they're giving us temporary relief and temporary functioning in a dysfunctional society. It's time to stop with all of the drugs. Just don't do. You don't have to do anything in particular except not do things. That's why for the past 7 years, all I have done is rest and sleep all I want. And I still have plenty of time, so I make all the money I need. Money's not an issue. I don't even understand what people are doing with their lives that makes money such an issue. I know I haven't taken on all the responsibilities that a lot of people have. But with the amount that people are working, it's that we're not just living dysfunctionally, we're also treating the dysfunction with more dysfunction. And that all costs money. The whole system is set up like there's leeches on everybody. And they're calling that the cure. Tonight I'm going to go see a movie, and I almost don't want to, but we just do these Tuesday value nights at the local theater because it's half-price movies and popcorn. I go for the popcorn, I always have. A movie, if it's good, it's rarely good to me, because I'm seeing all those extra layers of, for one, control, subconscious indoctrination. I'm seeing all that stuff that's being fed to people that people are just eating up. And it's, at worst, it's maddening. At best, I can detach and just enjoy something. I know I'm not going to be able to do that with the movie tonight, but at least the production company I love. Okay, it's from A24, and the movie is called The Invite. And I'm going to see how they portray the complexities of relationship. What happens is it's a dinner had between two couples who end up becoming swingers, I guess, or one of them is an established swinger couple and the other is new. And I definitely trust that it will be funny, but these are the cracks that I'm talking about. This is why we need hermetic seals. We need to seal and sanctify ourselves before we enter a partnership with one other person, let alone just allowing all the cracks in our partnership to become more cracks as we scramble our eggs with other people, couples, whatever. People are using sex as oblivion. And I can't see it as anything other than like dumpster diving at this point. Those eggs are not in a pan being turned into something edible, definitely not nutritious. People are just rolling around in mattresses in a dumpster. That's energetically what is happening. We take filthy, confused energy, gutter prana, and just say, well, they're in the gutter too. It must be all right down here. The best thing that ever happened to me was a highly judgmental look from a friend of mine when I was realizing how out of control I was in my 20s. It's not that I wanted to sleep with any of these men. I was several layers of confused, seduced, by the power, like their attraction to me. I had never felt that, and I'd never felt confidence like alcohol gave me. I think a lot of people understand that. So there's so much going on in the sexual energy that nobody brings up in a sober sphere, in a daylight way. And I'm doing everything I can to do that. I don't care how uncomfortable I make people at this point. This stuff should not be hiding in the shadows with the scorpions. That's how the toxicity proliferates and we become so immersed in it we don't know we're in it anymore. So, happiness for the next 2 to 3 years is a hermetic seal. And I don't even know what to do with, I know the hermetic principles. Like the whole rest of hermetic philosophy is barely known to me. I just know that we need a sense of the sacred back and a sense of what divine order is. I think it's been a lot of development, even on behalf of the divine, when it comes to what that order is. I don't think we are at fault for this entire period. Again, it's spelled out by the astrology. Though I am focusing on the Venus star point in Scorpio, it's like the major thumb that is moving the whole rest of the star. There are four other star points that Venus is in. Just none of them are particularly romantic. There's Aries, Capricorn, Gemini. Why can't I think of the other one? It doesn't really matter. But everything I am about is not where any of the astrology has been. And that's the core reason for my loneliness and even my own solo journey. Even though, like, it's why I am better acquainted with this hermetic seal than most people, because I've been out of all these games for all my life, or, I think some of us just slip at the top of the hill and just tumble and tumble and tumble too. And that's my 20s. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm falling in with this music here and just getting musical instead of sensical. Yeah. I may even, instead of doing a video every single week for every single phase, I think I need to start doing just one video at the end of each cycle, because I'm making these way too long and barely even sticking to the phase. That's part of what wholeness, what this full moon health is about. It's about standing in wholeness and also in retrospect, standing on the other side of experience and witnessing, reviewing, understanding. In a way, what I'm trying to capture with this little role reversal of the moon cycles, like what they mean, is retrograde energy. Retrogrades are reviews and how we consolidate what has happened to us and allow the wisdom of them to ferment, calcify, whatever the alchemical terms are. I want to live in, some planet is always retrograding. It's very rare there's never going to be a point in time where no planet is retrograding now because, celestial body, because we have so many asteroids and things in the sky now. Something is always going to be retrograding. And we just need a better balance. Again, the Libra bookends here. We have no balance. We're just scattered everywhere. Nothing's even so organized as to be put in the scales. We need to just sit. Literally. Be grounded. Like, you're grounded. Let the cosmic mother and father ground you. I've been watching One Tree Hill. Revisiting all these 90s things. Or I think that one's actually early 2000s, but one of the characters, her parents are not present ever. And another one of the characters' families takes her in, and the mom is like, okay, you're welcome here, but you're going to have to follow my rules, and you're not going to like it. And the girl's response is just to hug her. People don't understand that the rules are the love. I did not have enough rules. I don't know if I would have wanted that. I don't think I'm crying right now because I wish I had been given more rules necessarily. But the few that I got, the judgmental look from my friend, even sometimes I would blog about things that I was doing, like, as it was so clearly like a cry for correction. I wrote about stealing something from Walmart, just like a keychain. And I didn't know my mom was reading my blogs. I mean, I still, to this day, I don't really know who gives a shit about my life. And even people that are in my life, they don't really comment about anything that I'm doing or saying that is positive. But it seems like somebody always comes around to check me when I exhibit not so savory behavior. And I'm grateful for that. But the more recent complaint in my life is that nobody shows up when I'm doing something like when I'm trying to do something. There are always people that show up when things are going wrong. And people still think that's what being a good person is just showing up when things go wrong. But no, I think showing up for people when they want to live, when they want to, like it's events that I plan specifically. There were 3 in a row that were a lot of work for me and that were out of my comfort zone. And that's when the people in my life fail to show up, sometimes in spectacular ways. And I'm not mad. I think people are daunted by hope and by ceremony and by treating life like it's meaningful. But that's why it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, because we fear showing up for what is positively meaningful now. And yet we all live in this highlight reel fantasy of our lives being this sunshiny thing. But then you don't show up for it. You have to at least show up for it. I mean, that's the whole reason that I've been walking on sunshine, even in hell, is that I continue to fuck myself up by showing up for things, even if I'm the only person doing it. And I have been the only person doing it. And I've even stopped at this point showing up for people going through shit. I used to do it endlessly, but right now it's hermetic seal time. If you're going through shit, you need to talk to God. And I'm not going to be a proxy anymore to that, just because I keep myself there. I keep myself there. You have to learn to keep yourself there. And it's work for me. It's not, hope does not just come easily. I spend half of my life depressed. I have been bipolar. But now I know that for every high that comes, there will be a low. So I modulate. I have figured out the balance of this brain of mine. I haven't needed drugs for any of that. I just know what to do when waves hit. That's what we need to do, is sit through things and learn what to do when waves hit. Become resilient, not pacified. It's time to step up. It's time to aggress. Aggressive means to step forward. That's all it means. But humans are so afraid. They're just afraid. It seems like they're afraid of everything. It's fine to be afraid, but you have to be brave in response. Anyway. I feel like I've abandoned spirit of Black Cat. That's it. That's all I have to say about this magic basket thus far. It seems like it's like not even a finished basement, but a solid basement. It's not the utopia that early age of Aquarius has psychically envisioned and thus thought was right around the corner. that's what's misleading about spiritual vision, mystical insight, is that it is so immediate because you are tuning into something immediate in a space of no time, beyond time. But being within time means that all of that has to be worked into reality on reality's time. So this magic basket is literally like a brand new cradle where if you were a soldier who lost all their limbs in the war, you get to be reborn with brand new limbs and a brand new start and a solid basement. Maybe you have to finish it, but at least the fundament is established. We know what reality is. We know what illusions are. So hermetically seal yourself away from delusion and fully grasp what reality is, because reality is incredible. The truth, capital T, is incredible. One of the things giving me hope today, and I mean, it's not that I've felt hopeless, but I have felt like things are just way harder than I ever anticipated. A quote of the day from somewhere on my computer is, give it to me. Okay. A man who seeks truth and loves it must be reckoned precious to any human society. And I guess I had to become a man to do that. But by golly, I did it. There's a Gnostic gospel where Jesus said, if a woman's inferior, then I'll just make her a man, or then she'll be a man, or whatever. I don't know. Let her make herself a man. I don't know. I don't really do the whole, I can't talk about the battle between the sexes right now because it's not that to me anymore. Again, the feminine is above. She experiences the underworld journey, Persephone. The masculine is already down there. So his journey is conquering the mountain. And obviously you can see, like, so from just down here, it seems that there will be perspectives that the feminine is lower. It's because she's reaching down to meet he. He is reaching up to meet her. And they miss each other because they're both looking past each other. But we are at the point in history where we see that the meeting point has always been in the middle. And that it is meeting each other. It's not leaving one another. Anyway. The truth is lovable. It's any person who seeks truth and loves it must be reckoned precious to any human society. There are so many of these people. So many people are so excited about what they're doing. I don't know why the malaise, the general malaise, is still everywhere. But part of it is that you have to choose. You have to begin your relationship with reality. Just you and reality. Hermetically seal yourself. Okay. Oh, that's it.